Hi there, thanks for joining me. My apologies. My microphone, I didn't charge it, so I'm going to speak as clearly as I can and talk as close to the microphone in my phone as I can, because I just record using my phone. We're going to do a little bit more work on Mrs Cratchit's prayer journal. I love her spine. Her spine turned out exactly as I imagined it. And now I need to decide what the next step is. I don't have my heart set on that because I really do love just that it just says common prayer on it. But I do want to put Brad's on it because I have a feeling it's going to be big and heavy. You can see there. I did the I finished the sewing on the back of the lace just to pin all those little loose pieces down. Even though I glued them down, sometimes glue can come loose, doesn't always hold. And so just tacking it down, and I couldn't use my sewing machine because of the pearls that were on this side. I think that's from a wedding gown. And anyhow, this is just exactly what I envisioned that I wanted for this, that she just used bits and pieces of lace that was important to her, and that she found a way to put together a book from a book that maybe was tossed away into the, maybe there was a donation box for the poor of books. I was able to get an approximate year for this book by reading through it, because there were prayers listed in the text block. There were prayers offered for Her Majesty Queen Victoria, and then the next person in line listed was a prayer for Prince Albert, the Prince of Wales. And nowhere is Prince Albert, the husband, mentioned anywhere in the book. And he died in 1861, I believe. So it is, hold on, I wrote myself some notes. At the time I thought it was pre-1888, but then I remembered that I bought it at the same time as I bought the Bible. Mrs. Carr had the Book of Common Prayer, and she also had the Bible. They're both made by the same publisher, both the same amount of wear and tear on it. So Mrs. Carr obviously carried them back and forth to church services each week. And the Bible did have a publication date in it of 1889. So it's an old book. I'm going to presume, since it's literally almost the exact same book, except it's a Bible. I'll go get it so you can see. So it's literally the same. And this one had the publication date in it. So I was happy about that. So we know it's after Albert's death, and probably approximately 1889. Is that what I said? Yes, that's what I said, 1889. So it's old, and I just like that for my own sake. It's the curious, the person in me that just has an old soul and in search of of old things. So this is really very, very secure. And I have a feeling once I've got the text block in, it really will be, I'm going to do what I'm going to call a soft hidden hollow back spine, because I don't want to have to sew the signatures through this. So I'm going to sew them through some more of that toile, and but do it on the inside and then add it in. And then what I did was I got some Happy Mail. Sorry, I wasn't near my microphone, and perhaps one of you can remember who sent it to me. But this was a paper bag that was in the Happy Mail, and I knew it was going to be used for something, and I just think it's going to be perfect for in here as end papers. It's just, isn't that going to be nice? Because although this is a Christmas book, I want you to keep in mind that it's also her book, her prayer book, but we're also going to make it Christmassy. We have that liberty, don't we? So, but in the meantime, at least for the front, I haven't decided yet for the back, but for the front, I want there to be, hold on, I'm looking for this. I want there to be brads. And I've looked over all my actual old brads. I don't have very many tiny ones. They're all big. There's these guys. And I actually, at first I thought, oh, I'm not sure I like them. I have decided I do like them, because you can see how they almost look like they were hammered into shape. And part of me thinks because they were this big, again, keep in mind, my imagination is just running rampant here. Just going crazy. Thinking about what would she do? What would she grab from this to make that? It reminds me of when I was expecting our third baby. Fourth baby. I was expecting our fourth baby. I get really big when I'm pregnant. I'm short-waisted. I'm short and short-waisted. And I have huge babies. I had twins, first off, that together were almost 14 pounds total. So the next ones that came along just thought, wow, this uterus is nice and roomy. Let's just get big. So the next one that came along was, 11.5 pounds. And then for number 4, she was a nicer size. Fortunately, she was absolutely, although she waited way too long to arrive, she was almost 2.5 weeks late. But when she did arrive, it was in quite a flurry. But my point is, we were really trying hard to make ends meet. And there we were with baby number 4 on the way. And I was running out of clothing because I get so big that even maternity clothes were getting small on me. And I had nothing I could wear to church. And I did a Scarlett O'Hara, so to speak, because I found a set of bed sheets that had a really pretty pattern on it. And I made myself a maternity dress, a big smock toppy type maternity dress. And I made it out of a bed sheet. And so I think of, again, that I feel this connection with Mrs. Cratchit, making do with what you've got. I made a maternity dress so that I could go to church and at least feel pretty, because I was so big and we had so little money. And at 9 months pregnant, I didn't want to go out even trying to shop for a dress that I knew wouldn't fit me, because I went to maternity stores. Nothing fit me. Even they were amazed that, wow, you're really big, ma'am. Yes, I know I'm really big. And not even diabetic. It's often women with gestational diabetes and regular diabetes. I think you belong over there. Have big babies. And they would test me. They just you must be diabetic. Nope, I just build them big. The last baby was 12 pounds, 3 ounces. He had no business being that big, but we loved him and kept him. Anyhow, so that's why I feel like, what would Mrs. Cratchit grab and make use of and try her best to make it pretty, and that it would be beautiful in its own way, and it would be beloved to her. So maybe the lace was from her own wedding gown, or maybe from a sister's, or from her mother's or her grandmother's, and she had little bits and pieces of it, and did the best she could to make a pretty spine for this book that was precious to her. So that's the way I look at it. That's my mind starts going, and I have already rambled, and we're only, 11 minutes in, and I think I've rambled for 9 of them. Oh, this was tucked in the text block. And so obviously Mrs. Carr had saved it, and this also I find interesting because it says on here November 3rd, 1888. So that also tells me I'm in about the right ballpark for how old this book is. And she obviously saved this for a reason, and it's kind of funny because it's a comic strip, but it's sort of written in a manner of, it sounds like she's no, Mr. Harding, it can never be, but I will always be as a sister. And I have a feeling he's been proposing to her, and because it says, I hope you've got your thimble handy. You need to sew up the knees of my trousers. Because he's been on his knees, I'm sure, trying to propose to her so many times, and she keeps turning him down. Anyhow, again, off topic. Okay, all. So I've got 3... I've got 3 of these sort of eyeball shapes, and so I thought what I'd do is I'd use 3 of these big ones that look like they're hammered and put them in there. And then if I still felt like it a little bit more, I have some smaller ones that I could put in here, but I'm going to hold off because I think I made just like the 3. And I also like that these big ones, again, Mrs. Cratchit making do with what she could get a hold of at the time. I'm looking for the grungiest ones I can find that look hammered and beaten up. That maybe Bob was able to bring some home from the office, because a bookmaker would probably have lots of these big brads. I have a feeling I'm going to need to use my wire cutters and trim the wings on them because they're long. And that way I'll know for certain that the front is secure. Perhaps I'll use small ones on the back in the same spot and just make sure that it also is that it's also secure. So let's work on that today. So yeah, I was going through all of my actual vintage, possibly, I don't know, antique brads that I have. Maybe I'll use this one. So this line right here, actually, if you could feel, runs right along where the edge of the book cover is. So I know that if I can go in about 1/2 inch, I am going to be safely in. No, maybe I'm going to go in. How wide is this? I want it to also be able to go through the fabric. Maybe if I make sure that I have the brads go this way, I'll have a better chance of it getting through the fabric. This will be an interesting one for you to watch because I'm going to do the initial poke with the awl, and then I'm going to go in and have to make it into a slit because this is wide. So let's see if that goes in there, and I want it centered. I go that way. Maybe if I go crooked. No, I'm going to, if I go that way and one, two, three in. Yes. Okay, we're going. We're doing it. Whoa, that's a thick, heavy cover. We're going to have to do some work on the back. Okay, so if we do this one, 1/2, 1, 2, 3 in. Oh, I've got the yummiest Scentsy melt going in my burner right now. And oh, it just smells so good in here. I think it's called apple maple. And it just smells so good in here. Wow, that's a thick, heavy book. So I'm using the little dots as my measurement. 1, 2, 3 as my measurement where to put the brad. The fortunate thing is the lace is very forgiving. So if these holes aren't in the right spot, I can retry and I'll be okay. All right, we're going to get out my good now where'd I put it? My bookbinder's knife that my son-in-law made for me. I put in an order for a few more yesterday. He's so wonderful. I said, I need some more because this one's going to need sharpening soon, and if you take it away to sharpen it, I won't have one. And he said, okay, I'm on it. He's a doll. So take those, do this very carefully because this knife is so sharp. It was a cheese knife, and I know I've mentioned that before, but I always keep in mind in case someone's new visiting here. And if you are, welcome. Hello. I don't know if I said I'm Catherine. Up here in a little town on the north shore of Lake Ontario. Now, where are you? So do I want my brad to go this way? Yes, I do. I've decided it. So let's go that way. And that way. And that way. You've just got to be so careful with these knives. I don't want to bleed all over Mrs. Cratchit's book. All right. There it is. Okay, that's good. I can feel it. Yep, there it is. And I did do it in the wrong direction. Oh well. I can trim one side of the wing, and that's all that matters. I don't know why they're all bent like that, but that's okay. All right, so let's just... At least it's tough. There we go. In. Yeah. This is going to be so cool. I found some neat pages to put into it. It's going to be one of those journals that the papers aren't necessarily Christmas papers, but we're going to make them look Christmassy. I love that challenge. Come on, you can do it. Come on. Having a pep talk with Mrs. Cratchit's book. There. One more. There it is. Oh, it's nice to have you here. I can feel you rooting for me right now. I want to put this somewhere safer. That's a little nerve-wracking. Okay, now, I forget which direction I had the... There it is. Okay. So I hope you're doing well. I watch a bit of the news so I can stay on top of it, but then I turn it off because I know I need to know what's going on. Being an ostrich in times like this isn't good, but taking too much of it in also is not good. So I have to find balance in my life. In this era we live in of instant information, it's good and it's not so good. When my mother tells me stories about during World War II, you know, they sometimes had to wait weeks for information. There we go. Yeah, that looks nice. And now I know it's not going to go anywhere. So that, I need my good old knife. She said they sometimes had to wait days or weeks for information from Europe, whereas now we hear in seconds what's going on over there. So, and we hear all over the world. So it's information overload, and it can be So stressful. Anyhow, I'm going to stop talking about it because that doesn't help either. There we go. So these are going to get cut off. Okay. Wire cutters. Will these ones do? I don't have the best ones in the world, but they'll do in a pinch. That works. Up. I bet my son would have awesome wire cutters. My youngest son is an electrician. He's probably got his choice of cool wire cutters. But I just don't tell him, but I raid my husband's toolbox. There we go. Okay. Push that back down. Push that one back down. And push that one back down. And these ones, part of me wonders if I should hammer it. Ah, yes. Just to flatten that. Yeah. That's better. Then I can tape those down. I love it. Okay, yeah, there's no way I'm putting more on. That simplicity is perfect. That's going to look really, really nice. I'm going to think on whether I want to do the back or not. It's really, really strong. The glue I used is really strong, and like I said, it will also be glued from this side as well. So part of me thinks just that for the effect of it looks really, really nice. And I could even put like a little pin or a brooch onto this lace. And this part of the lace is still loose, which I love. It's exactly what I hoped it would be. So there we go. We didn't accomplish much today, but it was very important. And I brought you along with me so that you could hold your breath with me. Sometimes I just choose the most nerve-wracking things to make sure that I've got my cheering squad out there around the world going, you can do it, you can do it. What are you so nervous about? You can do it. And you know, I get nervous. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put, I don't think she would put one of these on. I think maybe if this was her personal journal, she'd want people to just think it's a prayer book and not know that she actually has private personal things written inside, that it actually isn't just a book of common prayer, but it's a book of a mother and a wife and a woman's prayers. So there we go. All right, I am off. Thank you for joining me again for another little installment. I'm slowly working on the signatures, and that part's just not that exciting. I know a lot of you really, really enjoy it. I do not. I like the decorating part, but the picking of the paper is not my favorite. So I'm just going to get it done off camera, and then I'll show you what I did when I'm done. So take care. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope you're safe and sound and that your loved ones are too. And we'll get together soon. Take care. Bye.